You know what's crazy? You mentioned the wage gap, right? Mm-hmm. And there's been numerous conversations about the wage gap. People have so many different opinions about how to interpret the statistics and so on and so forth. Like, I looked into it just for my own education and understanding, so I don't sound super ignorant when I talk about it. Like, there's a lot of causes for the wage gap. There is a wage gap for sure, but the cause is not purely because you're a woman and because you're a man. It's not fully tied to that, right? I looked into it, and what happens is oftentimes when you look at statistics, they take an aggregate of a group of people, right? Women, and then an aggregate of another group, men, and then they total up and average out their incomes and say, hey, you guys are making more, so on and so forth. But they're not taking into account decisions being made in each individual group, right? For instance, a woman and a man, there's certain jobs and careers that certain people will either be more drawn to, right, than the other. Like, there are a lot of high paying jobs that for some reason, there's not enough women entering into them. Like, the most lucrative fields statistically is STEM, right? Science, tech, engineering, and math, right? And there's a lot of programs inviting women to take on these courses, right? And enter into college. But then there are a lot of men who are entering those in droves, right? But then the fields that women are really drawn to are the social ones, right? In schools, and those don't pay that much. And it's not because they're women. It's just, it's not something that is, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you can find, where it's hard to find people to do those jobs in terms of like teachers and so on and so forth. There's like an abundance of teachers. As far as quality teachers, that's debatable, but like, it's not hard to find someone who's a teacher looking to be a teacher versus someone who is like really technical, someone that's like in science and so on and so forth, that requires a lot of sacrifice that only a small amount of people are going to do. So they pay more for it because it's rare, right? There are some fields where women dominate, that do make money, which is like nursing and so on and so forth, right? But they don't really overpower the population of men who are taking on these other roles, like especially like in construction, engineering, tech, all that stuff. Very dangerous jobs that pay a lot of money because of the risk. So that's a factor. So I don't want to get too much into the wage gap, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is if there's this concept of, okay, women don't make as much, right? Why do women want to enter into relationships where, Say it again. Why do women want to enter into relationships where they're being taken care of? Because that's further reinforcing the idea that the man needs to make the money.
Well, I think that, one, we need to take a step back, right? You said that women enter into more social fields than men do. Men do all the dangerous jobs or the jobs that require a lot of, I guess, like STEM and tech and stuff like that, right?
Correct.
That requires a lot of schooling and things like that.
Correct.
But when I talk about the ideology, right, that starts at home.
Sure.
Living in a patriarchal society, the differences between men and women from little adolescents, right? Babies were taught women are nurturers and men are not.
Sure.
Men go out and do these things and do those other things. So when you have children who are growing up and going through schooling and they're being taught and they're seeing, oh, I should go be a nurse because I'm taking care of people. I should go be a teacher because I'm teaching children. Right. I should go and do these things because women are taught to be nurturers, right? We're taught to take care. So in my opinion, it makes sense that there aren't going to be as many women in tech. There aren't going to be as many women in STEM. There aren't going to be as many women in those fields because women are taught from babies to be a nurturer. You are here to take care of and teach and be loving and kind and social. While men, on the other hand, are not. They're pushed to go out and use skill and develop skill and intellect, right? Because that's what will make you more money. So you can take care of the nurturers and this and that, right? But I think what you're not taking into account with the wage gap is that even men who come into those fields that women dominate, like nursing and teaching and the like, still make more money.
That's not necessarily true. I've actually looked that up. I've actually looked that up. So there are certain fields, especially in the, healthcare and so on and so forth, where a woman with the same qualifications as a man will make the same, oftentimes more, right? For a lot of reasons, because the stereotype that a woman is a better caretaker is just, that's just how those statistics played out, at least the ones that I saw. But I do agree with you to a certain degree when it comes to like raising children. For some reason, like sometimes I see kids, like I see little girls like walking with their parents, and the little kid's got a stroller. I'm like, why do you have a stroller? Like, you're 4 years old. Did you choose to have that stroller? Are the toys like geared around you being a caretaker? Like all the kitchen, the kitchen Absolutely. Toys are like all in pink and stuff like that. And I agree with you. When I see that, I'm like, that's dumb. Or why do the boys always want to have guns? Like
in trucks, huh? In trucks.
Sure. I mean, I'm seeing more like unisex toys that are geared around stuff like that. Like I think there's a progressive push in that, and I do agree that there is like this cultural expectation for men and women, but it's often based on they're pushing what they're used to, and it's hard to tell a mother who grew up in the 1920s or 1950s to teach their daughter something that they themselves don't even know, right? So I think it's a progressive thing. So you do have a point, but I just do think that there's a large volume of influence that's causing that.